question about the shit that's going on with, KEEFE D.
I heard,
what are the odds?
Streets, he lawyered up.
And 50 Cent said
yesterday.
50 might have got notified a little early because he was talking shit about it before it came out.
They
They
say he lawyered up.
Your Honor, can we please roll the audio soundbite from Sean Combs in the year of 2000?
Y'all drop $1 million on your head, Ray Shoe and the whole thing.
Just last night, they finally nabbed Southside Compton's own KEEFE D for the 1996 murder of Tupac Shakur. Las Vegas PD claimed they started digging up new info on him in 2018, all because KEEFE D spilled the beans on TV shows and documentaries. This all started after that murder rap documentary dropped in 2015, and it had some secret tapes of KEEFE D from 2009 where he was like, yeah, I was in on that Tupac hit. KEEFE D, man, he didn't keep quiet about it. He went on all these TV shows and YouTube channels bragging to everyone about how he was the big shot behind Tupac's murder. So now that he's all locked up, we're all wondering what's gonna happen next to old KEEFE D. Here's the kicker though, in all this jaw flapping that KEEFE D's been doing, he's starting to point fingers at Puff Daddy, that New York record exec, saying that Puff bankrolled the entire hit. Even though no cash ever got to KEEFE D's pockets, Puff Daddy had been talking about putting a price on people's heads back in 2000, and KEEFE D connected the dots to that same amount that Tupac had on his head. Alright, so here's the lowdown on this whole situation. KEEFE D spilled the beans in his secret 2009 confession tape. He was going on and on about how he's been tight with Puff Daddy since back in 1993. Apparently, he got the hookup through his New York dude Eric Zip Martin, who was the real shady character in the Big Apple, known for pulling some slick moves. KEEFE D even said they were in on some drug stuff together. KEEFE D claimed that Zip introduced him to Puffy in the early 90s at a party in Santa Monica at this spot called Paradise 24. Word on the street is Puff used to roll with KEEFE D and Zip to local baseball games, and they'd place bets on the games too. Zip would even get on the action as part of the bet. Now, here's where it starts to get wild. KEEFE D said that Puffy borrowed his ride, which ended up in Usher's debut music video for a jam called Can You Get With It from 1994. But Usher apparently messed up KEEFE D's car during the video shoot, so Puff Daddy had to cough up some cash to get it fixed. Their connection rolled on throughout the 90s, bringing together some shady East Coast and West Coast crews. This all ties into the Southside Compton Crips and the dark underworld of New York that Puffy has ties to. In fact, there was a lawsuit back in 2003, and in it, this guy Kirk Burroughs, who used to run Puffy's Bad Boy Entertainment label, claimed that Puff set up something called the Enterprise. The lawsuit alleged that his crew was into some really serious stuff, like murder and extortion, and this extortion thing might have been connected to how Bad Boy Entertainment got its funds, with some whispers about ties to New York gangs. Tupac even spilled the beans in a '96 interview, saying that Puff was getting squeezed by East Coast drug dealers. Now, there's this theory that Puffy's label was getting its dough from New York gangsters, who eventually turned the tables and started squeezing Puffy and his artists. Some say that Bad Boy was supposedly bankrolled by the Black Mafia, and there are whispers about it being tied to the Detroit Black Mafia family. But there are other stories too, like folks claiming it was a different New York gang, led by the infamous Walter King Tut Johnson, who supposedly funded Bad Boy from the get-go. Tupac in a '95 interview with Monster Cody even threw out the name A-Team as the gang that was in on it. The gang has ties to some heavy-hitting New York gangsters like Haitian Jack and Jimmy Henchman. Apparently, Henchmen shelled out 25 hundo to have Tupac shot multiple times by Dexter Isaac and King Tut in the lobby of a recording studio in New York back in '94. All the while, Puffy and Henchmen were just chilling upstairs. This whole incident kicked off a huge beef between Tupac, Puffy, and Puffy's biggest artist at the time, Notorious B.I.G., who happened to be in the studio too. Puffy wasn't just in hot water with Tupac though. A year later, in 1995, things got even messier after some wild stuff went down in Atlanta. You see, in a 2003 legal document in the case of Burroughs versus Puffy, it claimed that Puffy gave the green light for the shooting of Suge Knight's friend and Blood gang member Jake Robles, aka Big Jake, at an after party in Atlanta. Deputy C.J. Howard, who was providing off-duty security at the party, pointed fingers at Southside Compton Crips Corey Edwards and KEEFE D's nephew Orlando Anderson, tagging them as suspects in the case. KEEFE D, in his confession, spilled the beans that Puffy was tossing tickets to his shows to the Southside Compton Crips whenever he was performing in California. It seems like he was trying to get some extra protection from Suge Knight's Bloods. So in October of 1995, Suge Knight came to Tupac's rescue, bailing him out of prison and getting him signed to Death Row Records. With both Suge Knight and Tupac harboring some serious grudges against Puff and Bad Boy Records, things were bound to get messy. According to KEEFE D, in December of 1995, Tupac and Suge Knight reportedly locked up a Bad Boy associated producer, Mark Anthony Bell, in a room and roughed him up to force him to spill the beans about Puffy's family's address in California. Yikes. Here's where it gets even crazier. After a concert at the Anaheim Coliseum, Puffy apparently brought the Southside Compton Crips back to a hotel room for a party. Zip was there too, and KEEFE D claimed that this is where he first heard talk of wanting Tupac and Suge Knight 6 feet under. Lil Cease, an artist from Biggie's group Junior Mafia, backed up this story, confirming that the Southside Compton Crips were indeed at that December 95 concert in Anaheim. Fast forward to March 96, the Soul Train Music Awards went down at the Shrine Auditorium in Los Angeles. Puffy and Biggie were there, ready to hit the stage. Tupac and Suge Knight were also in attendance, with Suge rolling deep, having about 30 Bloods dressed in P-Funk shirts, representing the Pyru set. Their plan? To snatch the Bad Boy artist off the stage. But KEEFE D, who was handling security at the event, got wind of this scheme and he put a stop to it. Tempers started flaring when the two crews crossed paths at the event. Puffy's bodyguard, Jean Dill, claimed that after this, Puffy said he didn't care if Pac, Biggie, or Suge Knight met their maker. Something had to change. In the summer of '96, after Tupac dropped that fiery diss track Hit 'Em Up, targeting Puff and Biggie, Puffy supposedly met with KEEFE D at the Green Black Steli in Los Angeles. Rumor has it that a cool $1 million was on Tupac and Suge Knight's heads after that. In 1997, police reports from a confidential informant suggested that Puffy had allegedly ordered a hit on Tupac and Suge Knight, and he may have linked up with the Southside Compton Crips for this. According to KEEFE D, he and Eric Zip Martin made separate trips to Las Vegas on September 6, 1996. They were joined by fellow Crips Orlando Anderson, Terrence Brown, and DeAndre Smith, who drove in a white Cadillac rented from a Compton car rental company, registered under Terrence Brown's mother-in-law's name. Their supposed official reason for hitting up Vegas? To catch the Mike Tyson fight at the MGM Grand. Funny thing though, they didn't even have tickets to the fight, so they watched it from the MGM Grand lobby bar. Meanwhile, Tupac, Suge Knight, and the Death Row crew, along with some Blood Gang members, were also heading to Las Vegas. The Mike Tyson fight was part of a charity event tied to a nightclub called Club 662, where they were raising funds for a Las Vegas Metro cop. Tupac had to do some community service act to stay out of jail, so he was involved in this event. Things started to get dicey after the fight when Suge Knight's blood associate, Trayvon Lane, pointed out Orlando Anderson. Trayvon had a previous run-in with Orlando after Crips reportedly tried to snatch the Death Row chain off Trayvon's neck, thanks to a rumor that Puffy had put a bounty on these chains. Trayvon Lane then tipped off Tupac and Suge Knight about Orlando Anderson's presence. This led to Tupac being the first to confront and attack Orlando, with Suge Knight and the Bloods following suit. KEEFE D, while chilling with Zip at a restaurant, got the scoop on what happened to Orlando Anderson. And according to KEEFE D, Zip, who allegedly knew about this $1 million bounty, told him that it was the perfect opportunity to go for it. In KEEFE D's initial recorded confession, he claimed that the Crips didn't pack any weapons for their trip to Las Vegas. Instead, they supposedly got a Glock from Eric Zip Martin to carry out the hit. A confidential witness stated that Zip Martin told the Crips that he had the firepower they needed, and everyone seemed to be on the same page that Tupac and Suge Knight would be at the Club 662. KEEFE D in his confession recalled Zip's parting words to him about the perfect timing for the $1 million hit. KEEFE D had some Crips hopped in a van and made their way to Club 662, while Orlando Anderson and the other two Crips took the white Cadillac. After waiting at Club 662 for about 20 minutes, KEEFE D said they left and he got into the Cadillac. They drove to a liquor store and 3 hours had passed since the initial confrontation with Orlando Anderson. After leaving the liquor store and searching for a BMW that Suge Knight and Tupac were in, they eventually spotted him on Flamingo Road in Koval Lane. Female fans were shouting at Tupac, which helped identify the car. Yaki Gaddafi, Tupac's group artist who was in the car behind the BMW, noted that the driver of the Cadillac was wearing a white cap, and according to KEEFE D, that driver was Terrence Brown. KEEFE D was seen in a photo with the Crips, wearing a white cap. KEEFE D also claimed that, as they approached, they looked into the windows of every car to find the one Tupac was in. Yaki Gaddafi told fellow artist Napoleon that he had seen people in the Cadillac inspecting each car before the shooting occurred. KEEFE D said they handed the Glock, which Zip allegedly provided, to Orlando Anderson, who carried out the shooting, which sadly turned out to be fatal for Tupac. According to KEEFE D, the very first bullet fired skimmed Suge's head, and he initially thought it had killed him. However, Suge claimed that it was a later shot, when he was pulling Tupac down, that another bullet grazed his head.
Pac saved my life. The reason why I say Pac saved my life, I got shot in the head, got grazed some other places, but I still got the bullet in my head. It's still there.
After the shooting, they reportedly parked a car about a block away from where the BMW stopped and placed the Glock in the front wheel tire. Then they went back to the hotel and got drunk. KEEFE said that as they were walking away, he and the Crips saw an ambulance go by with Tupac and Suge Knight inside. According to KEEFE, the day after the shooting, they retrieved the Glock and drove back to Los Angeles. They also took the Cadillac to an auto shop to repair bullet holes, as Suge Knight's Bloods had fired back during a chase. The murder rap documentary, which includes police interviews with Puffy's bodyguard Eugene Dill, claims that the New Yorkers who were in Vegas the night before informed Gene Deal about what had gone down in Vegas. KEEFE said that after returning to LA, while DeAndre Smith and Orlando Anderson were driving around in the Cadillac bragging about shooting Tupac, he met up with Zip at a restaurant in Hollywood. During this meetup, KEEFE claimed that Puffy called Zip and asked if they were responsible for the shooting, and Zip confirmed it. He claimed that when he inquired with Zip about when he would get the bounty for carrying out the shooting. However, this part doesn't quite add up, as Tupac didn't pass away until 6 days after the shooting, whereas KEEFE claimed that the meeting took place the day after the shooting while Tupac was still alive. According to KEEFE, 6 weeks passed and the news of Tupac's death broke. During this time, a gang war erupted in Compton between the Bloods and the Crips due to the events that unfolded in Las Vegas. There were reports of $100,000 bounties on the heads of those who believed to be the ones in the Cadillac. The police, on the other hand, claimed they encountered an associate of Bad Boy who informed them that Puffy had given the money to Zip, but Zip had kept it all for himself. Puffy's bodyguard, Gene Deal, did an interview where he said he saw a check from Jimmy Henchman handed to Zip, which Zip put in his back right pocket. Gene stated that the check was disguised as a payment to Black Round Records, which is owned by Barry Hankerson. This suggested that Jimmy Henchman might have followed up on funding a second hit on Tupac through Puffy, similar to the '94 shooting in which Tupac survived. KEEFE claimed that even if he had received only half the money, he would have never snitched. This is why KEEFE started doing interviews about these claims from 2018 onward. With KEEFE now behind bars as a suspect, we still have the open question of Puffy's involvement. People firmly believe that it was in fact Puffy who ordered the hit, and 50 Cent seems to be thinking the same thing. On his Instagram page, 50 posted, "Damn, so Pac got lined by Brother Love? LOL, time to lawyer up. Might get sticky." He posted a pic of Tupac in that classic black BMW, the very same one from that notorious night when Tupac was shot following the Mike Tyson fight back in Vegas in '96. Puff Daddy hasn't clapped back yet, but KEEFE is saying he never saw a dime of that $500K that Puff supposedly promised him. What's y'all's take on KEEFE's recent bust and his life behind bars? And what about 50 Cent spilling the beans on social media about Puffy's part in this dirty job?
If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. That helps the channel out with the YouTube algorithm. I appreciate y'all. Big salute to all of my subscribers that's tapped in with Keep Low. If you're not subscribed, then subscribe to the channel. You heard me? You already know. Hit that red subscribe button and the thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. Yo, you. Yeah, you. Listen to me. Go to www.keeplowproductions. Check out the page, like the page, and cop you some Keep Low shirts. All sizes and all colors available. So cop you one of these Keep Low shirts with the world famous lines in the street and the manhole cover, and we down there keeping low. Because if you keep low, you never tell. They never gonna know. You feel me, dig me? Yo, big salute to everybody that's rocking out with Keep Low. Yo, I do this cause I love y'all. I thank y'all for tapping in. Salute to everybody that copped the Keep Low shirt, supporting the channel. If you want to support the channel further, you can hit me with the thumbs up and definitely subscribe to the channel. Yo, salute to all my subscribers and everybody tapped in with Keep Low. This is LASHEIM the God, and I love y'all. And just tell y'all, stay focused, keep low, never tell, they'll never know. Peace.